and had just talked about huge amounts of money that was supposed to make life slightly easier for most people in the context of
It certainly is, Bulldog. It certainly is. God bless the Queen. That's how I'm starting off. God bless the Queen. You would have to be well over 70 to have known a different monarch or anything in your lifetime. Nobody else would know that. We're just too young. And no matter what you think of the royal family, she's done a lot. She's been stalwart. She's had to put up with a lot, just like we have to put up with woke things. So's the Queen. Look at Meghan. Good evening, Mark. Big Johnny, your NHPUK TV. Unfortunately, sad news. The Queen's passed. She's had a time. 96 was it? She's done her innings. God bless her. You know what I mean? She's gone. You know, I'm not no fan of Charles, but I was a fan of the Queen. So was my mum. Good job my mum's not got her capabilities, otherwise she would be very sad. Evening, Andy Red Volvo. So, campaign update. How am I doing? Well, when I handed out my leaflets in April, Pat put a question to me: how many votes does he think I'm going to get in the election? So come May, and I said to him between 150 and 200 votes, and what I got was 174 votes. Didn't do any door knocking or anything. All I did was deliver leaflets. Talked to a few people. I delivered 174 votes. Now, I've capitalised on that. Obviously, we've been out since May. I've been out a couple of times. Pat's come up. Been out on my own knocking. I'm out tomorrow knocking. And I estimate, a good estimate would be 350 to 400 votes, yeses I've had. Not enough to get me a seat. I've still got to work on it, but I'll show you where I've worked around. Let's get it up. I use Map It UK to show me my ward boundaries and where I'm going to and stuff like that. I'll get it shared. Yes, Roch. I know you did, Bulldog. I know. Thank you very much, man. It looked wicked. It did look a wicked day, and I'm glad you had a good time. Lots of publicity. Brilliant. I've seen Active with his 2 banners. I am quite impressed with Active lately, I have to say. I'm going to say it. I'm very impressed with his lack of swearing and stuff like that. So good on him. Good on him. Very good. Honestly, all good activists on Monday. So this was the Rwanda case, as we've seen. Bulldog, Yorkshire Rose, Pat, Brian, everyone were down. Brexit Brian, everyone were down there. And Pat got a lot of publicity on GB News. Steve Laws got on Sky News, but they haven't shown that, we know, but he did get to talk to Sky News. So yeah, I use Map It Me in Hollins, and I'm just going to zoom in. The area you can see there is the avenues. 1st Avenue up to 9th Avenue. It's one section of what I've got to do, and we've we've knocked on all them doors. Obviously, I would say we've only talked to 40% of the people whilst in that area, 40%. Some weren't in. And we've also, which is a good area to start. It's a good area, a lot of good support in this area. I know a lot of people already on here, but you know, I've had really good support. Lots of the families talking to everyone about all sorts of issues. Couple of big issues in the area: environmental health, rats. We was talking to a guy the other weekend, and he had a husky which died after its water got contaminated with rat pee. And if you know anything about rats and poison and that, rat pee is highly dangerous. But yeah, a lot in that area. Antisocial behaviour was also a pretty big issue in that area. Generally, everyone knows about the child sexual exploitation going on in Oldham. And obviously, most people are angry. A lot of families in these areas that I've talked to with young children and teenagers and things like that. I've also been told about Oasis School, which is just over the road. You can just see it there, Oasis Academy. Safeguarding going on at Oasis Academy. And last weekend, I was talking to a woman whose daughter was beaten up in the school during school time and been picked on and bullied on during school time. I was quite, well, I mean, I know these issues are already here, but it's just off someone down there. I will get more details on it. I'm not going to say the woman's name or anything. I'll give any names, but I will get some more details and I'll bring you up to date with that. But Oasis, so I'm going to do a video soon about schools in Oldham. But yeah, a few problems at Oasis. This section, I've delivered leaflets to this section, but I haven't done no door knocking. But there is antisocial behaviour in this area, which I've been made aware of, and that I followed up with an email to the Housing Association about. I'll get the email up in a minute. But so yeah, I've had a really good first choice homes. I emailed about antisocial behaviour. Sorry about that. I'm just looking for the email. I was made aware. I've emailed them, and they have confirmed that they are aware of it, and that the local officer is not, you know. The community legal officer for such a place is aware of the issues and is taking appropriate steps to address it. I am sure you can understand. I can't give you any more details, which is the data breaching. No, she can't, but they've confirmed that they are aware of it. People have been phoning me. I have showed these people that I've emailed First Choice Homes. If anything else continues on now, I will be emailing them again if anybody, if people in the area, and there's a few people in the area now who I've been in contact with and I've talked to. If anything further goes, I'll be emailing them again. But yeah, so I'm not a councillor, I'm not a standing councillor, but I'm getting into it and I'm doing the things that a councillor should do, which is look after his voters. And the most people who've contacted me since I started campaigning, the majority of people who I've talked to, who phone me up and who I've been round are elderly or disabled. Them the people who've contacted me more. I have been contacted off people who are just family members, a father, an uncle, a mother, but most of the people are elderly or disabled. The oldest person to phone me up has been 92-year-old, and I had a good couple of chats with her, and he also on voting day escorted her from her house to the polling station back to her house because she's a bit infirm at 92. So I did that on polling day. But yeah, so, you know, I'm getting into it. I have to email people. I'm going to have to. We have, besides this, so I've got another couple of things in the process. I've got an issue with a certain area. Let me just say. So I'm going back across Hollins Road now. Walker's Road, the area between Walker's Road and Fox Street. I'm just in the process of doing something, getting an email together for the residents to the housing association, Housing 21 it is, about getting maybe some groundwork done in that area because there's a lot of disabled or semi-disabled or elderly people in that area. And some of the places in the area, not really, you can't walk on them. You can't walk with a walker or anything. You couldn't walk. One woman, after a guy was murdered at a doorstep, he died at a doorstep, and the police for 4 days had her doorstep cornered off, so she couldn't come out of the house from the front, but she couldn't get out of the back. She couldn't get out of the back either because of the way it's situated. So this is all happened in my area. So a guy was stabbed and he made his way to Walker's Road and collapsed and died in one of my voters' doorways, an elderly woman over 80. So, you know, these things are going on in Hollywood. Don't think they're not. There's been a couple, quite a few high-profile murders in the area past few years. I am going to be talking about a lad from Hollywood who was killed, Bilton, Tommy Bilton, he was called, through information off articles, and a member of the public in the area who sees all these articles and checks everything out and all that. It was let me just one second. I'll just I do have it somewhere, but she wrote me a 4-page letter about the incident. So I'm going to be talking about that. It's knife crime, something that's pretty close to me heart, considering I was involved 4 years gone, August the 18th, in an incident in Manchester where 3 of us ended up getting stabbed. And one of the lads was was on critical for a few hours of the night. He's only young. He quickly recovered, but he was on critical. So it's a big thing to me, Knife Crown. So I'll be talking about that. And I've also been campaigning in, and I think this is one of my core area of votes, which is Lower Lyme, Farm Road, Laburnum Road, Higher Lyme Road, Lime Green Road, and Blackthorn Road. It's one of my stock areas of getting votes. And the weekend just gone, over 100 yeses. And we didn't do Higher Lyme Road. We just did Lower Lyme Road, Farm Road, and Laburnum Road, and Lime Green Road. That's all we did. And we've had 100 yeses marked on the sheets. So we've been there. So I've got plenty of other areas to go. I've got garden suburbs to go, up where the golf club is. Got that area to go. Now, I think I'm going to get a good catchment of votes in this area as well, garden suburbs. This is where the 92-year-old lives who contacted me. But yeah, that'll be the next area I get to. That'll be the next area. We've got plenty more to go. Got this area at the bottom. Now, if you know Manchester Road, you've got Drury Lane at the bottom. Just right on the junction where the Roxy used to be. Now, there's no residential properties in the little square that sticks out there. It's a trading estate. There is a pub, but that's closed. But there is a gym, boxing gym in that area, run by a local lad, Marvin Greaves, West Indian lad, a local West Indian lad, Marvin Greaves, who, and he'll tell you himself, he's been in trouble with the law before. He's been in prison, and he's gone the wrong way, but he's come the right way. He started up a boxing club in that area. So we'll get down to seeing Marvin soon. We'll go through the boxing club. He has a couple of good local prospect boxers doing well. He trains people. There's also it's a gym there and stuff like that you can use. And that's what he puts his time into now, rather than being a bad boy. He puts his time into boxing and training and helping people out that way. So we'll get to Marvin soon. Even though he's not a voter in my area, his gym is in my area. His gym is in my area. I would, if I became a councillor, I would like to help him a bit better. I know he does get some kind of funding now already, but I'd like to promote him. If the kids are in the gym, they're not out on the street stabbing each other, are they? If they're in the gym and training and stuff like that, learning how to box, you've got learning to box is listening to instruction, keeping fit, eating healthy, all that kind of stuff, training and stuff like that, building yourself up. There's a lot of things in training, boxing, that is beneficial for everybody, for most people. And even if it's not physically, it's mentally. And like I said, training, you've got to keep your food right, your weight right, and all this. This all takes mental capacity to do all this correctly. So, you're learning stuff. You're learning to better yourself. So we'll get round to Marvin's gym before we get round to Marvin's gym before election next year anyway. Andy Red Volvo need to fight. They're going to need it. So, yeah, going good. Again, I reckon more 350 line to 400, but I think it's more 350 of votes, and I'm good at judging it. I've already shown that I'm good at judging it. So that's how it's going. My new leaflet will be out soon. But on it, I've mentioned on it. You've told me about antisocial behaviour, environmental health, rats, disused churches. One woman said to us about like the churches getting rotting away and falling away, which is a big thing because we could, you know, we're a conservative Christian values. And no, I'm not going to say I don't want churches. We need the churches. The churches need to be brought back to communities. Gender identity in schools has been another big issue on the list for quite a few people. Crime and knife crime. There was a murder in Moston, and two of the lads involved in the murder, the stabbing to death of another teenager, lived in Hollins. There's been other murders with knives or bladed items in the area, separate than that. I'm being told there was a machete welding person up in the avenues the other weekend. And so it's big in the area and nationally, knife crime, as we already know. Housing, Oldham Town Centre. A lot of people said about the Oldham Town Centre. The 92-year-old woman said she's afraid to go in the Oldham Town Centre, and so she should be. It's the worst area in Oldham for crime, one of the worst areas for crime in the Oldham Town Centre area. Just a few weeks ago, just a couple of 100 yards from where I live, on Edgerton Street, a lad entered a woman's house and stabbed her. And they haven't found the lad yet. And he wasn't white. Let's just put it that way. He wasn't white. Housing's a big issue in the area. My goddaughter was the one who mentioned about the housing in that area, and how for 6 years she'd had to wait 6 years to get a 2-bedroom house, and she's got 2 kids already. A girl and a boy. She's got 2 kids already, and she had to wait 6 years for that house. And obviously, it's an issue because houses and properties now are being given to people who've just arrived in the country. Obviously, we've got thousands of people in hotels. Our hotel bills are rising all the time, but at the moment we're on, just to say, approximately 5 million a day in hotel bills. And these people are getting priority in housing and stuff like that. And they've only been here a couple of months, even a couple of years. My goddaughter's 30 years old. And, you know, she's lived it 30 years older. Her oldest son's about 6 or 7 years. And there's loads of people in that kind of condition in Oldham. All sections of the community as well, not just particularly the white community, but the Pakistani community in Werneth, which is next to my Hollingwood, South Chadderton, all these areas that need housing. And just lately, I'll show you where it is on the map. I'll show you where it is on the map. It's not in my area, but it's on the way out. And Copsterhill Road, that area now, they've made a church. They've made a temple, an Indian temple, in the area that needs more housing than anywhere. And this area here, all this is adjacent to mine. They need housing. They need housing. And it's a big Pakistani area. There's no houses for them. But they've decided to build a temple on grounds that was going to be used for houses, believe it or not. Honestly, that's what they've decided to do. The mosque there. But yeah, so it's going well. Like I said, I've been getting round, talking to everyone, child sexual exploitation, rubbish and fly tipping. These are issues in the area. Council services, some of the roads, some of the green areas in Hollingwood don't get looked after really that well. Few people have said that. What else? Immigration. People are telling me about they don't want any more immigration coming. It's changing the whole landscape of everything. And no matter what you say to people, it's not for the best. We don't need these immigrants to do any kinds of jobs or anything, not the ones who are in hotels or anything like that. So people are concerned about immigration, and so they should be. It's not a subject that's taboo. It's a subject that we should all talk about. And then a big section on gender identity. I'll get my new leaflet up soon for you to look, but I've done a big section on gender identity. Gender identity. I have big issues with this, and we firmly believe that kids shouldn't be indoctrinated with this ideology. Stop the sexualization of our children. We firmly believe in the nuclear family, and our party holds conservative Christian values. I mean, all the mainstream parties support this. Keir Starmer can't even tell you the definition of a woman. Adult human female. And so there's a big section on gender identity. Now, you know, I haven't really come across anyone. Someone did say to one of the lads who've been delivering leaflets that, oh, what's this all about? We don't want this. My daughter's trans. Never don't say anything about trans on there. Just says gender identity, what she's saying, and that's what she said to us. But, you know, I just said, it can be what, but should we be teaching this stuff to 3-year-olds? That's what I said to anyone about that gender identity. A middle-aged woman last weekend said to me, gender identity. I said, look, love, right, I'm a conservative Christian, me, and I don't believe in it all. But, you know, if people want to go that way, fair enough, it's up to them. But should we be teaching 5-year-old kids? And straight away she said, I agree, totally agree with what you said. We shouldn't be teaching kids, putting this kind of stuff on kids at that side. So she read me leaflet. She's seen about it. She must know that about the woke people and all that lot. But then, you know, I talked to her. So it's been good. It's been good. I'm enjoying it. I've got a lot of work to do still. Garden suburbs. Then I've got this area. Popular Avenue, Birch and Oak Lane. And I've still got down here, I've got Stag Pasture, White Bank Road, Arcacia Road, and the bottom end of Elm Road and Pine Tree Road, which I think is going to be another one of my good areas for getting votes. I'm still looking for 2 more people to run with me in the next elections. That's what we want. I would have done all the groundwork, and then you can decide to run right up to April of right up to the beginning of April next year. I have asked a couple of people already, and we have got a couple of people marked down who are interested. And just let me tell you, you don't need any special skills. All you need to be able to do is talk to people and write an email and attend the meetings. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. Don't anyone think that you have to be intelligent, because there's people in the council who aren't intelligent. So Oldham Council is full of unintelligent people. There's only a few that I would consider that have got like loads of intelligence. The rest of them are just stooges. You know what I mean? You don't need intelligence to be it. You need to be able to write an email and talk to your neighbours and interact with your community. That's all you need to be a councillor. Turn up at council meetings and vote if you agree with whatever. Going forward, I've talked to young families, mothers, and one girl wants to get a petition together, which I said is a brilliant idea. And if she does get the petition together, then I'll fully support her. And it was about schooling. Again, comes to schooling again. That they're being told that she's under the impression, and she's being told that it's going to be suggested that a school days are being cut at school. Now, this girl has kids with behavioural conditions, and the holidays are bad enough, 6-week holidays. She can't go for kids being off school. They need to go to school. They survived lockdown, but it could have been better, she said. They could have set better things up to teach the kids while they're on lockdown. But like I said, she came up, she might do a petition, said, you do that and I'll 100% support you. I'll go around getting people to sign. When I'm knocking on doors, I'll get people to sign a petition. That's what I'll do at the same time as knocking and getting people. So, and it's to do with schools. It's to do with these schools here. Holy Family and Limas Community School. So I've got lots of work to do. I'm not a serving counsellor, but I'm doing serving counsellors' work. I'm doing serving counsellors' work. Normally, people wouldn't do this until they got the council position. That's how arrogant and ignorant they are. But I've started now, even before I'm a counsellor. Not guaranteed to get a council position next year, but I'm learning the things that I have to do right now, interacting with people. There could be some petitions going on. I'm emailing First Choice Homes and the council and things over issues in the area, which I'll continue to do. Which is also, so the campaign's going really well. It's going really well. Thank you very much. It's going really well. Yes, McTavish. I'm buzzing, actually. I'm buzzing. I don't know why I never got into this before. I really don't know why I never got into it a bit earlier, into counselling. But I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing. It's exciting. It's brilliant when you're getting your yeses. And you've just got to work the area. You know, like there's people in that area. I actually did a lad who I went to school with has had a stroke. I got told last week. I went to school with him. And a lot of the people in this area I've known 30, 40 years over. My goddaughter's 30 years old. And they're all from this area. I've lived in this area. I've worked in this area. And these are the things that I think have done well for me, knowing the kind of area. The rat pod problem is not a fairly new problem. When I lived on Lower Lime Road, and that was 2005, and I left that area. I left there 2007, went to Bradford for a few years, but the rats were started there. Was going on back then. But I wasn't a counsellor. I wasn't really into doing. I think actually I did email for someone around that time to the council. I helped them draft up an email. I've also been helping people where I can with paperwork, a bit of advice and stuff like that. I've got a lot of electoral things to do. I've got people who have been saying they've lived in their house 4 years, are paying council tax, they've filled electoral forms in, but they still get the old person, the person who lived there, electoral card. So I've got to look into a few issues like that. So wherever I can, I'm helping out. Tomorrow, I'm out tomorrow, and I'm going checking on a woman and making sure her son's got filled in his paperwork, and he's going to be moving house soon. She's got a son with got some health difficulties. He's trying to get a move into a flat rather than a house because he lives in a house. The steps are no good for him. And she told me about this some weeks ago when I was first on my campaign in April and May. But since then, her son's been offered a property a bit close to her, and he's on an housing list now, and he's got some kind of priority. So I went down the other week, went over, give her some advice on some paperwork she had to do and stuff like that. So whatever I can do like that, I will do. I'm pretty confident. I'm full of beans that I can help people on a variety of issues to do with forms and stuff like that. I've had to fill a lot of these forms in for my mum and do a lot of liaising on emails with council and stuff like that to do with my mum. So going really well. There's going to be a new sheriff in town. He goes by the name of Big John. Yes, Arlene. So yeah, the campaign's going well. It's going to be brilliant next May. It's going to be brilliant next May. I've already talking to people with on the team now. We've got our own security, our own trained security man with his badge and everything on the team, Steve. So he'll be helping a lot. We've got a meeting coming up. We've got a venue locally, and we'll have a local meeting coming up, and a venue in Hollins. So we're going to get it'll be a meeting like we did in London, 3 or 4 speakers, and we'll have a whip round at the beginning or the end. But that's up and coming. And I'll be speaking. I'm sure Pat will be speaking. I'm not sure who else will be speaking, but certainly me and Pat will be speaking. And that's a venue in Hollins itself. I'm not sure how many people we can get in, 30 to 50 people maybe. But that's my area. That's my Hollins. I'm absolutely loving it, guys. Honestly, I'm loving it. Every time I go out, nothing puts me down either. If someone's negative with me on the door, or no, I'm not voting for you, fair enough. You know what I mean? I did come across one guy so far who says he's read the leaflet, so I'm not voting for you. Don't like your policies. He's probably, I don't know, he might be pro-immigration, you know what I mean? But, you know, you shouldn't have to be afraid of speaking out. And if you think that immigration is a problem in your town, then you're in the right to speak out. But remember, anybody who said they was against immigration or anything to do with immigration pre-referendum, you just branded a racist. They wouldn't listen to you when you said there's no houses. They wouldn't listen to you anything. Branded a racist. There was a council meeting last night, but nobody got in. They weren't allowing any members of the public in. Police were called, stuff like that. A joke. But yeah, so that's my campaign in Hollins. I estimate I've got between 350 and 400 Y's on my sheets. On my sheets, between 350, 400 yeses. And I've only touched a little tiny. I've touched two postcode areas out of 8 postcode areas, and I've only been in 2 of them, which I think have been some of my core best ones so far. Thank you, Daniel. I mean, the thumbnail to the video. Let's see if I can get it up. The thumbnail to the video. I just want to show you the thumbnail to the video. I will find it in a minute. So yeah, this is a thumbnail to the video. The blocks that you can see, 3i there is people living in them, but I don't think they're in every one. I'm not sure yet. I haven't found out, but I think they're going to be knocking them down. There's a big area there, but I think they're going to be knocking them down. But there's a load of land there. I mean, what I'd love for an area like Hollingwood would be some properties that'd be ideal for a young mother or middle-aged people or something, like young mothers, right, in a complex where they've got a nurse as a manager. We don't have money for this. We don't have money for this because Oldham's such a skint town, and we give all our money goes down the drain to religious buildings and letting people have mosques in houses and stuff like that and ignoring everything. We don't have the money for it. But that, in an ideal world, I'd love an area with a nice square in the middle. You know, it's fenced off where there could be a load of young mothers there. And in that same area, in the block, in that compound, would be a nurse who lives there as well, who could interact with these girls and stuff like that. You know, you could put in there, you could put girls who are disadvantaged or a young mother who needs some kind of support, who's not as capable, needs support. You could have something like that, but just one of the areas in where I am. I've got to look into them to check to see if they are being knocked down, because that's I muted myself. I don't know why I did that. Sorry about that. Sorry. Where were I up to before my sound went? I did a little area that I showed you. But anyway, Pat's in the chat now. So I've had a really good response in the area. And again, the things I mentioned is what everyone else has mentioned: antisocial behaviour, environmental health, disused churches, gender identity in schools, crime and knife crime, Oldham Town Centre housing, rubbish and fly tipping, child sexual exploitation, council services, immigration, the homeless. Everybody says we're giving all that money away. What about our homeless? That's everyone has said that, from young person, middle-aged person to old person. So, you know, that's what people have talked about. One woman, she was very thingy on the disused churches. She didn't seem that she was as, like, she didn't look like a born-again Christian. She didn't look like, we met her in a pub, but she said she was just unhappy with the way the churches are left to go. Do you remember that, Pat? Do you remember that woman? Yes, John Rankin. Do you remember that, Pat? We met her in pub, and she mentioned about the churches. And there's a load of disused churches around Greater Manchester and in Oldham. And, you know, we need to, like, get them back up. Some of them are the really old buildings. It's the identity of the town. But yeah, it was mentioned. But they've mentioned all them things. Crime and knife crime, like I said. One old woman couldn't get out of her house for 4 days because she couldn't get out the back. She was incapable of getting out of the back. There was a big lock gate, and the steps weren't right for her. So she had to stay in for 4 days when a guy who'd been stabbed died on a doorstep, and the police had sealed it off to do the forensic on it. So that's honestly, this is what it's like in Hollywood. I'm not making things up. These are the things that are going on. But yeah, we met a few old geezers as well on last weekend, and one guy lost his wife 4 years ago. Lives in a 2-bedroom house. And I'm gonna have to go. I'll go around and knock on his door again in a couple of weeks. Make sure he's all right. Over winter, I'm gonna knock on that guy's door. Will be knocked on again, and I'll make sure he's got everything. It's good. I'll chat with him for a bit and have a brew and stuff like that. But I want to do that because it's going to be hard for our elderly and people in a less off position to help themselves. It's going to be hard for them this winter. It's going to be hard for them this winter. Everybody of all dominations in Oldham, it's going to be hard for us this winter. But National Housing Party, putting UK first. That's what my description is going to be in the election next year. And that's going to be the description on the leaflet as well. But yeah, so thank you very much. A quick update on the campaign. It's going well. I'm absolutely buzzing. And I'm learning. I'm doing the councillor thing now before I'm a councillor. I'm emailing people. I'm getting involved in local things. We've still got more to come. I'm going to be visiting a couple of the local areas as well. There's a young lad who did a lot during lockdown in the Limeside area. We met him. Pat met him the first time he come up. He's done a lot in the Limeside area, and he's getting funding to do stuff for kids and stuff like that. So we'll meet up with this guy. There's a local football club. There's a golf club. And there's another guy who helps him and his missus, the carers, they have someone living with them, but they also have a charity, and they do stuff for disabled kids and stuff like that. We'll get round to meeting him. He does have a night out, actually, but it's normally a Thursday night. So I'll probably have to cancel one of my Thursday videos and go out instead with my mum, and we'll go and visit the place that he gets disabled people round for a disco or game playing and stuff like that. So we'll get more into it. I have got his flyers somewhere. I'm not getting them out, but I have got a couple of his posters to do with his thing, but we'll get round to that. Again, it's interesting. I'm getting to meet a lot of different people, a lot of friends, old-time friends. Jerome just had a stroke a couple of weeks ago, 55 years old, West Indian ethnicity. I just thought I'm praying for him. And then we just lost the Queen as well. And I'm not saying I'm a big, massive fan of the Queen, not as much as my mum is, but she's the best royal we've ever had, and she worked hard and she's done a job. She's done a job for 70 years, is it? 70 years. And as kids, a lot of us who were in our 50s as kids would have been going on the Jubilee parties on our streets, all waving our Union Jacks. So we're in mourning. I know that Labour and Conservative and all that have ceased campaigning. That's what they said. They've ceased campaigning. Unfortunately, I'm not ceasing campaigning. I still need to do my campaigning because I know that probably towards the end of next year that the Labour Party will be getting worried, and then they'll start to have a go at me some other way. But they should be getting worried now. We should be getting worried now that the NHP UK are going to come in and wipe out and take 3 seats. That's what we're going to do. the 3-seat wonders. If next year NHPUK get 3 seats in Oldham Wood, we'd have done better than all the rest of the independent parties and independents in Oldham ever. We'd be comparing. I would have to compare NHPUK. I would have to compare to something like the 2000s when the BNP got a good percentage of share in the general election and votes. I'd have to compare it with that because it's the last time any other kind of party or group did well in Oldham and in Greater Manchester was the 2000s, the early 2000s, the late 90s. Since then, it's just been dominated by Conservative, Labour and Lib Dems. And as we know, they're all crooks, liars, paedophile protectors, scumbags, traitors, and anti-white as well. I'll not forget to put that in, anti-white. But thank you very much. It's John Lawrence, NHPUK TV on a Thursday. Just giving you a bit of a campaign update. I want a big crew next year, next May. I want a big crew to help me on the campaign. That last week, plenty of door knocking and stuff like that's what we'll be doing. And again, getting around there and talking to people, that's how you're going to get your votes. But thank you very much. I'm going to go now. I've got to deal with my mum before carers come. But thank you for tuning in. Let me just check the comments. Thank you, John Rankin. The Mark. They don't, Tony. They don't. They don't. They say that. A lot of them have said that. They don't see any of the councillors, certainly not on the kind of level that they see me. They don't get councillors coming round to their houses and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm friendly and I'm not just all there about getting elected. I want to know what people are worried about. And I'm taking that on board already by, like I say, emailing First Choice Homes over antisocial behaviour, getting involved in a couple of little projects in the area as well. A lad said to me the other week in town, "Yeah, John, you've got to get involved with them." And I'm getting involved with them already. I've already got 2 projects on. I'm emailing people on antisocial behaviour. He just looked at me like, "Wow, what, you're doing that already? And you're not even a councillor?" I'm not even a councillor. I'm doing that. But, you know, it's not unlike I haven't done this kind of thing before. I've done this kind of thing in my community, me. I remember a woman in Fitton Hill coming up to me saying 2 of her children go to the same school and the next child has to go to a different school that's a couple at the other side of the estate. She said it'll cause her problems. Got contact details for the email details for a local councillor at the time. This was around 2014. I helped to fill the email in. She sent it off to him. The council had a word with the school. Then she got all the kids in the same school. So I'd done that years ago, 10 years ago, nearly 8 years ago. I'd done something like that 8 years ago because I want to help people. And I'm not a nasty person who doesn't want to help people. I do want to help people in my community, whatever kind of issue they've got. Again, we're called the housing part. We've got big issues with housing. And Fox Street in Hollins. Now, the tourist houses, but you wouldn't believe, I'm going to have to measure the angle of the steepness of the steps in these houses because they were difficult for me to get up. And so these houses on Fox Street would be no good for families with kids, no good for elderly people or people with disabilities. You'd have to be like, your kids would have to be like teenage plus, and you'd have to be in pretty good condition. And the steps are so steep in the house. They've only got little backyards and they've got no front garden or anything like that. And I don't want an house like that. I want an house that's got a nice front garden and a nice backyard where you can put a big bouncy castle thing in or have a swimming pool for the kids. These houses on Fox Street do not have this kind of stuff on them. They do not have big gardens. They don't even have a front yard. When you open the door, it's a path and then it's a street. That's what it's like. And I don't like houses like that. That's why I'm all for building all on Greenland, me. We have to, because unless we stop immigration, we're going to have to take up more space on our Greenland. And Kemi Badenoch said it well. The only way we're going to deal with housing is dealing with immigration. That's what she said. That's what she said. And but thank you very much. I'm going. Thank you very much. Again, God bless the Queen. 70 years, that stalwart 70 years. Couldn't have done any better myself. And there won't be many people who remember the King. You'd have to be well over 70 to remember a previous monarch. And our monarchy has been going, what, roughly 1,000 or so years. But God bless the Queen. God bless the Queen. Thank you very much.